Welcome back to Martial Arts Insight. So today what we're going to be covering is some basic empty hand strikes. As you might have seen already in the How to Grip Your Weapon Properly video that I put out, you're going to need to have your wrist and hand aligned with your forearm when you make your shots, okay? So that's going to be first and foremost. There's lots of different ways that people will make their fists. I'm not going to get too involved into that. But as long as you know that you're supposed to be punching with these knuckles here, right? Or you can punch with these knuckles here, these bottom three as well. I'm not a huge fan of that, but some people like it, and I mean, I've seen people knock other people out with it, so, good for you, man. But anyway, what we'll start off with is we'll start off with an orthodox boxing stance. 90% of your people are right-handed, and vast majority of your right-handed people fight with their right power hand back and their left hand out probing for shots, okay? So as I'm here and I throw my jab, I want to tuck my chin below my shoulder like this, and I'm snapping my jab out. So it's not like I'm rearing back and trying to put a lot of power in behind this. This is my lead leg, so I can't get so strong off of it anyway. I mean, some people might be able to throw a very powerful shot like that, but that's going to be relative, right? So relative to your other side, this is going to be weak, okay? So you're going to throw your jab out and get it back. So get your chin below your shoulder. Be sure that your wrist is flat and straight when you make contact. And if you're one of those folks that likes to punch like this or like this or like this or like this or like this, I don't care, right? As long as you have the good proper fundamentals of having these bones aligned with each other so that you can get maximum transfer of energy through there, right? Some people like to make contact and then twist as they're driving through. Good, man. Fine and dandy. It's great. So when I'm here, I'm going to throw my jab out, tucking my shoulder up over my chin like this, and then pulling this hand back. When I first started doing some fighting stuff, my instructor used to make me always grab my beard like this because I had a tendency to let my hands drop, right? Let my hands drop after I throw a punch like this. And, he'd smack me in the face, well, not with an open hand, but he'd hit me, over and over and over again. Eventually you get tired of that. So you learn to tuck your chin and get your hand back like this, okay? So drive this hand in and back. And for now, work on just as much getting your hand back as putting your hand out there, right? When you're a very skilled martial artist, you might be very, very good at attacking, and confident in yourself. But in the beginning, you just want to get this hand back and protect yourself from the unexpected, like I was talking about with the stick disarms, right? I don't want this unexpected shot to come over and knock me out because I don't have proper technique or form, or at least some technique or form, right? So here, jab and back, okay? Then the next shot that we'll look at is a cross. So that's going to be off of your rear leg, and I'm going to throw that. Same thing, I want good alignment between the hand and the forearm, right? So I throw jab, cross. When the cross comes out, it comes right back again, just like the jab does, okay? So you can throw these multiple times here, but I don't want you to practice that too much because what I want you to really do is get in the habit of looking for your target, right? So if I'm just going bang, 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 there may not be an opening there, right? I want to go bang, bang, and get this hand back and make sure that my next target is available, right? So speaking of the next target, let's go on to the next strike. Before we go on to the next strike, when you throw this cross, be sure you're letting this heel come up off the floor, okay? You'll find some styles which will do this twisting motion like this. And if you're in tight quarters like that, that might be what you want. But if I'm in an actual situation, I want to punch somebody hard, I don't want half my body weight going backwards as the other half comes forward like this, splitting this energy between these two, right? I want everything coming forward into my shot when I make contact with it. And that means I want to be able to drive off of this back foot through my target here, okay? So let that heel come up, and that'll let your hips turn because you want to drive through the hips, boom, when you make this contact here, okay? So next that we'll look at is going to be a hook. Now, your jab could be low, your cross could be high, your hook could be low, your hook could be high. Any of these elevation options are available to you, but you still need the same fundamentals of wrist and arm alignment when you make your shot, right? So if I go jab, cross, I moved up here to this other side this way. When I throw my hook, I'm letting this heel come up again. I'm having the forearm and the hand flat, and I'm driving in horizontally this way, right? like this. You got to be sure that you're letting that heel come up. Otherwise, you're just using your arms, okay? You might have big, powerful arms, but you've got a much bigger, more powerful body than you do arms. So regardless of how big and strong you are, you will be stronger and more powerful if you let that hip turn into your shot, okay? So we're jab, cross, hook, like this, right? And I don't want my hooks to be long and looping like this, right? The same way if I'm thrusting with a stick, I don't want to hit with the stick like this. I want to drive the tip in, right? So when I throw my hook, I want the same thing, right? I'm not throwing out like this, okay? I would refer to that as a different strike. What I want this to be horizontal and flat, like that, okay? Next shot that we'll look at is an overhand. So we'll go jab, cross, hook. I generally step out just out of habit or practice, and then we'll throw our overhand. So our overhand is going to be like a cross, except it's going to turn over this way, right? So typically I might try to pull this off of a left punch. If they're throwing a jab, it might be difficult for me to slip in on that. But sometimes what will happen is they get a little hyped up, a little amped up, and next thing you know, that left hand's starting to flail a little bit. As soon as that left hand flails, I'm under it, over to the other side, and I'm driving this overhand right up over top of it like this. Okay, boom, like that. I love these overhands, man. They are super powerful shots. Okay, last thing that we'll look. Oh, overhand, just like before. I'm gonna let that heel come up. So, with the exception of a jab, virtually every punch that I throw, I'm gonna let that heel come up. Where the heel down might have started is where you have folks who might have been trying to knock people off of horseback, or you've got a big group of folks coming in, an army or something like that, and you want to hold them off, so you plant your back foot like this so that you can really absorb this impact when it comes in. This is more defensive than offensive, right? I don't want to anchor myself and not allow my body weight to pivot. I want to pivot off of this point, right? So when I throw my shot, I can move in and through my target, right? That's how I deliver actual power here. I don't want to punch like this, right? Push like this, drive through, okay? So the last shot that we're going to look at is an uppercut. So typically I'll do some body movement here because I don't want to have these big looping uppercuts like this. I see this all the time where somebody gets an opportunity to throw an uppercut and they go boom, and they think they're going to take somebody's head off. You might. If they suck and you're good, or timing is off or something like that, that may be possible, right? But when I want to throw my uppercut, I'm going to move in here, and I'm throwing it from here, boom, right? I'm throwing my uppercut from my head. I just let it trail away from my head just a little bit as I start to drive that through, right? So right hand or left, boom. I'm not letting this hand drop down behind me like this, like I'm going to just really lay into them, right? I'll be here, and I've slipped, right? And I might just come right up in between these two hands right here. Boom, like this. And again, body turn, heel, and driving your body and shot weight up into this shot right here, right? Bang, without this big loop, all right? So there's jab, cross, hook, overhand, and uppercut. 5 shots right there. You're really not going to need too much more than that. There's lots of, we can look at hammer fists, right? With a hammer fist, it's actually one of my favorite shots to do, and it's actually the way that humans are designed to punch, designed to strike, right? If you look at any other primate, they don't punch like this, right? They pound, right? Boom, boom. And if you put a tennis racket in somebody's hand and they serve, they make this overhand shot. If I give you a baseball to throw, you're going to be throwing it with this same overhand motion like this, right? If I give you a beer bottle, this is how you're going to hit somebody in the head with it. Unless you've broken it, you're not going to be poking at them, right? A stick, bang, a hammer, anything. This is the way you're actually made to hit, okay? So a hammer fist is going to be like this, right? Okay? It might not be that because the orientation of the arm, if his arm is here, I might run into the shoulder before I do this, right? But if I pull that arm down here, and drop the head down, this might be a very feasible impact. And you do see this in cage fights and stuff like that. When somebody gets somebody down, they go into this very primitive, like, pounding motion. I mean, that's just the way that we're made, Okay? The other variation is going to be other side like this, right? So this is really a 1 and a 2 that we covered before. Right? 1, 2. And I'm not hitting it that hard, but you can get a lot of force in this backhand, right? And you can go on, you know, YouTube or other online stuff, and you can see people get knocked out with these shots all the time. These hammer fists backward like this is it's great. Anyway, so now we've got let's see, jab, cross, hook, overhand, uppercut, and 2 hammer fist variations right there. That's 7 shots. That'll get you through anything that you really need. I mean, you'll probably wind up using like 2 of those at most, unless you're really practiced at them. Anyway, thank you very much for checking out the video. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Anything you can do to help me out would be greatly appreciated. I don't like having to ask you guys to do that, but it is very useful and helpful for me if you do. So if you do me a solid and help me out with that, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much.